Hello, my name is Zero, and this is going to be a combat explanation for Halo 3 ODST. I'm going to be using the prepare to drop clear. I'm not going to be breaking it down. I will be doing that in the prepare to drop video, but I'm going to be more explaining how I'm killing enemies. So there are, I would say, the three kind of main ways that we kill enemies. And I'm not really gonna, I guess I need to say brutes instead, because generally grunts and jackals, you're just headshotting with the pistol, or with grenades. But I guess the three main ways that we kill brutes, from I guess most effective to least effective, are, and this does come with some variants which I'll explain, but I would say most effective would be using grenades or rockets. That one's kind of a given. The second is to backsmack, and this is something that a lot of new players don't really do. In ODST, it's very, probably one of the most common ways to kill a brute is just backsmacking them. And the third way is obviously to shoot them. This is generally the least effective, just because, especially if you just have an SMG and pistol, it's going to take forever to get their shield down. So I'll show how we do the PTD clear, and I'll explain what's going on. So first things first, I'm throwing 2 grenades. That's enough to kill a brute, and you'll notice I SMG these grunts. And then up here, I can just SMG or headshot the grunts from afar. I like to SMG because frankly, the SMG is better because I'm terrible at aiming. And then you'll notice these last 2 brutes, instead of shooting them, I'm getting behind them and backsmacking. So that's all I want to show here on Prepare to Drop. The bottom line is, in general, you want to use grenades when possible, but if you don't have grenades, you're gonna want to backsmack brutes. The reason, so you'll notice I do have grenades still. I could have used a spike grenade, but I wouldn't have wanted to use a plasma grenade in this situation, primarily because this clear is time-based, and a plasma grenade would likely take longer to kill the brute than it would for me to backsmack. I also had a frag, and I didn't want to use that. Now, this leads me into my next point, which is managing your grenades and ammo. I kind of explained this with slide jumps, or rather grenade slide jumps, but the thing is, a lot of the time you're going to want grenades later in a level. So in this case, I want the frag and plasma, which we will cover in the Prepare to Drop Clear video, but I do not need the spike grenade, but I did want to keep the frag and plasma because it's going to help me with the trick a little later on. So that's just something I kind of want to point out. It is important to keep track of your grenades and ammo, namely making sure you have what you need for the tricks. And that's why generally, as you just saw, I backsmack those brutes. So, yeah. Alright, so I just want to provide another example here. I'm on Oni, so here's, obviously, let's say I've killed almost all the enemies I need to make the quota, but there are still some enemies over there. So in this case, obviously, it's unreasonable to go over there and backsmack the brutes. In this case, when you're trying to meet a kill quota, you generally want to try to target for grunts, but if you don't see grunts, it is reasonable to shoot a brute. Typically, a carbine like this would be reasonable, and as you can see, that more phantoms dialogue means I meet the quota. So, yeah, that's just kind of one thing I wanted to point out. You want to make sure you're kind of, I guess, using the right weapons for the job. Don't use an SMG to wither down a brute's shield, because it takes a magazine and a half or something. If you're gonna go the shooting route of a brute, either noob combo, which is generally inefficient on easy, or use a carbine. And I'm going to really quickly cut to a section in here where I'm going to explain something else. Alright, so the next thing I like to really quickly explain is using the visor, as in night vision, and the visor database, also known as the map. In combat, the night vision, as it's kind of unaptly called, is actually useful even during the daytime levels because it helps you kind of see enemies a little bit better. And then the thing with the map is that it actually shows you where enemies are. So I guess this is the kind of prime example I could find here on Oni Alpha site. In any timed wave clear, or rather any wave clear where you're trying to kill the enemies as fast as possible, it can be beneficial mid-combat to just quickly check the map. I think by default it's tab. I have it on tilde. And it could be beneficial because you could see where the enemies are. So this Oni wave fight, for example, the first wave is RNG. It can spawn either on the left side or the right side. So what we do is we wait, we open the map, and as you'll see, okay, so it's right side. So by having the map open, I know it's right side. You could also just sit back there and look, but I guarantee you the map is way more efficient. The thing is here, you'll notice this wave is entirely grunts and jackals, so I'm only really using SMG. And then this upcoming wave is going to have it's going to have some, it has one brute and some jackals, so I'm actually going to use this turret, which I brought in with me. This might not be the best wave clear, but the turret is definitely a good way of getting a brute's shield down and getting him killed. And then you'll notice here, it's only brutes, so I'm using 2 rockets. Unfortunately, I think I only killed 1, which actually really sucks. But we got that guy. And then again, mainly grunts here. There is 1 brute, but for him I'm just gonna use a plasma grenade. Hopefully it can actually stick him, or not. There we go. And then last wave there are 4 brutes and some jackals, so it's beneficial here to just kind of, you just want to kind of clean up as fast as possible. The big thing here with all this combat is it's really just a lot of game sense. And you see that's the wave clear done. And I will explain that wave clear actually in depth on the Oni video, but the thing with combat is it's a lot of game sense. By no means am I one of the better people at combat. I don't think I am at all. So I'm just trying to explain kind of the fundamentals, the best way of killing certain enemies. Just to reiterate, with grunts, you pretty much kill them with anything. Same with jackals, you just have to, I would prefer precision weapons for jackals just because you could shoot their shield and get them to, I don't know what the word would be, but get them to like flinch. And then with brutes, my preferred way of killing them is with explosives or backsmacks. And then obviously carbines or turrets as well. Generally, just I would never shoot a brute with an SMG unless it's all I have. Just because, as I said, I'm pretty sure to take down a brute major's shield, it is actually more than a magazine. And then to take down a brute minor, which is the ones who don't have the large armor, I believe it takes about a magazine as well. So, bottom line, just kind of try to get in your mind how you're killing different enemies. And obviously with the different clears in the game, you do it a different way, so there can't really be a universal guide, but I'm just trying to sort of explain, you know, how to combat, and hopefully this is helpful.